Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of mobility testing, and today we're going to be going over the hip. Okay, so there's been a lot of athletes coming to me asking me about or complaining of hip issues, and there's a couple self-tests that you can do to determine where exactly the pain is or what the problem is, and then we can address it from there. Okay, so obviously some of the common issues are going to be hip flexors. So this is if we're going to be running a lot lately, or we kind of doing a lot of squatting. Sometimes that hip flexor can start to act up. If you sit a lot all day, that causes the hip flexor to get shortened because it's in this position here where you're basically sitting all day long or for extended period of time. So then when you come in here and you're rigorous, you're moving around, and that tendon and that hip flexor can start to get kind of act up on you and cause you pain. So I'll take you through some self-tests here that you can determine if it's going to be hip flexor, it's going to be the deep hip socket, and whether it's going to be kind of on towards the back. Okay, so there's 3 tests you can do. Our first one is literally if we lay on our back, we're going to bring the bad side, so the problem that I'm having the issue up, and we're going to lay that ankle on the knee just above it, and then can I bring this knee down to almost parallel, and am I having any pain in the range of motion from when I place it going down? Am I feeling that deep in that socket? If so, then I can surmise that it's most likely going to be in the hip socket that I'm having issues, okay? And then we can kind of address that. If I'm not having any issues in this position here and I'm able to get this knee down to parallel, no pain, then we've moved on from this and we're going to go to our next test. So if this is my bad side and I want to test the hip flexor now, I'm going to bring in the good side knee and try to pull it as high as I can. Now the goal is if I don't have any hip flexor issues, am I able to keep this leg straight, or as I do this, does it start to pull that leg up, right? Because it's shortened, it's super tight, so now that starts to lift or the knee starts to bend and I can't keep this down. If that's the case, then we know it is a hip flexor issue and we'll address that, okay? And our final test is going to be a seated position, and we're going to be looking more for that deep hip socket, which is going to be on that outside, kind of towards the glutes, but this is our seated figure 4 position. So if I take the bad side and I come to this position, again, am I able to get to that where it's horizontal with the floor? Any hip pain in the back? And I feel a little bit of tightness kind of coming up here in that outer, like kind of where the glute and that hip socket meet. And now I know, okay, that's the source of maybe where my limitation are, okay? So those are our 3 self-tests that you can put yourself through to determine what area I need to address. Obviously it's hip flexor. We're gonna go through some hip flexor stretching and making sure that, and rehabilitation there. If it's going to be in this position, you could kind of just go through this, our seated figure 4 stretch, which is gonna target that area, or like a pigeon. And if it's the other one where I'm laying down and I kind of feel it more towards the front, then we're going to go through some banded hip distraction videos. Now for any one of those recommended stretching, obviously if you search through the library you're going to find them, or send me a message, I'll send it to you. But we have all those videos in our library of mobility demos. But I wanted to give you guys a hip test because I've seen a lot of hip issues and how to address them, kind of doing yourself test. You can kind of pinpoint where it's at, and then you can take care of it from there. So hope this helps, guys. Give me a like if you enjoyed it, if you found some use of it, and remember, share, subscribe to our channel, and follow us because we give you some weekly tips. And if you guys are dealing with a certain mobility issue that you would like me to address, send me a message, comment below, or just see me in the gym. See you guys next time.